All right, y'all. We're about to go ahead and get it cracking. So look, we're gonna look at some trend lines. We've covered them. We discussed trend lines, and I taught on them before. We're gonna do a recap here. Try to keep it light, keep it basic, keep it simple, and then we're gonna open up for questions at the end. So we're gonna go ahead and get cracking. If you got anything in the meantime, put it in the chat. All right. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of charts first. All right, what's a trend line? How do you use trend lines? How do you draw trend lines? Okay, so what a trend line is just a way for you to establish confirmation of a trend, right? We get trend from looking at our swing highs and our swing lows. So let's talk about what those are, right? A swing high and a swing low are movements in the market, right? When we come from a low to a high, right? And even in between that, right, we see that we moved from this low to that high, to this new low. This is a a higher low. And then we move back up to a high. Then we move down, made a new low, which is a higher low compared to this low. Came up and made a new high point, right? And so you're not going to know that it's the new high or the new low until after, after it's already giving you some new candles to confirm that we're not making that move up. But that's how you start looking at the trend, right? It's going to be those highs and lows. You're going to see the swings. And when you're looking at creating a trend line, all you're doing is connecting the dots. Just like back in the day when you was a kid, connecting the dots. That's all it is. So if we take this line off of here, right, we're connecting the dots. If we come over here, right, then this is what we're doing. And I like to look for on my trend lines, I want 3 touches. Right now, you could get away with the trend line with 2 touches. I like 3. Right. But of course, the more you touch it, the more you can confirm, like, okay, this is solid. Keep in mind that trend lines aren't like horizontal price areas where people have orders sitting. Like people have orders sitting at the 420 level on SPY, 430, 425, right? Horizontal, when you're looking at those horizontal support or resistances, that's where those orders are sitting. So it's a lot easier to look at it. But when you're doing trend lines, it's diagonal, right? It's on a slope. So it's not going to always be pinpoint perfect, but you can see that these are pullbacks, and it's just kind of a way of measuring a pullback and then looking for a bounce to continue in the overall trend. Okay. So with this, let's say we're going back in time. We did the replay. We're right here, right? So now what we're looking at is waiting to come test this. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what we're looking at as far as a setup, right? So when it comes to trend lines, you can trade trend line breaks, you can trade trend line bounces, you can trade, those are really the only ways you're gonna look at it. And there's different ways you can get into it when you're looking at that. Because you break, you come back, you can retest and then continue, right? And so those are all different entry points, but we're gonna keep it simple. What I'm looking for is to come tag this trend line. My stop loss, I'm gonna put below this low, or I can do a close below the trend line, right? So this is my looser stop loss, right? To really say, okay, because we already know, and this is you're looking forward, you're forward thinking. We already know that if we break this, we can come to this next level and possibly double bottom and bounce back up, right? Which is why we're like, okay, yeah, we could do a stop loss right here, but it's probably, potential to just come wick down, double bottom, bounce back up, right? But this is how I'm looking at it. I want to enter down here when it comes to bounce this level. And then I want to take it on up higher to make another higher high, right? The way I like to measure mine out, and this is me being extra, but just some things I like to do is if I want to get an idea, and you can do fibs, there's other ways you do this. Some things I like to do is I just like to look at measuring from that point to the next high point, right? So if I see that from this high to here, it's about 370, right? Then I'm like, all right, cool. When we get this bounce, I'm gonna just look at what a move up another 370 would be, right? And that'll put us right here. All right, so that's how sometimes I'll structure these trades beforehand, right? Now, once you're in the trade and as you see price continue to come, you always want to be able to adapt and be flexible to what price is giving you, right? But beforehand, I'm looking for my pull down here, completely stop out if we break down here. If you want to be more tighter with the stop, then close below the trend line is the stop, right? The reason I like to use this low is because the trend line, again, is something that's flexible, right? And people will do trend lines off wicks, people do trend lines off bodies. It's up to you how you want to do it. Just know that the trend line off the wick is going to give you more room because you're using the wick, whereas the body is going to be tighter, right? So if we're getting the move down based off the wick, now we have a deeper pullback, and we're going to be able to snipe a little better price because we're not so tight up on it, because it could pull back down into the area that it wicked at, right? So let's go ahead and let it play. Give us some candles. Look at that. It ain't even come. Let's drag this on out. All right. So let's look at this. Let me take it one candle back. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I ain't gonna take it one candle back. All right. So we see that we did end up coming back, pull back, didn't hit the trend line, right? But you see, if y'all notice stuff, right, you notice the support that it came and hit. We're gonna do another supply and demand class. All right, but cool. So let's peep this. What do? We didn't come and test it. We came and broke through the trend line, right? So now you're looking at targeting this back down, right? And here's your next level. Things to be wary about is that you have the gap, right? And this is slowly evolving into not just a trend line class, but a full-on trading class. So forgive me for starting to expand and get full circle with everything, right? But now you have the gap. So when you're looking at this, right, and you know you could take the break of the trend, because now, if we take it back to like the actual price-based stuff, we've now broken this support, right? One, we've broken this support, right? Two, we have now completely made a new lower low. So previously, our lows were getting higher, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, right? Now we have made a new lower low, and we're looking at trend to potentially flip, okay? But we also have the gap above, all right? I'm not going to try to deviate too far because I want to sit here and like trade this. Boom, there's our gap fill. All right, so now we've came back and we've broken back inside the trend line, and we see that we're starting to hold the trend line again. So here's where you still have another opportunity, right? We're letting the trade come to us. So now we can do the same sort of deal. We're at the trend line. We have two inside candles, but what we're looking at is to bounce off the trend line and go ahead and start moving up to target this previous level that's going to now act as resistance, right? We could put our stop below the trend line, or, right, we'll break trend line. And if we break trend line, then we're looking at coming down here, having a stop above here. And then once we take out this level, then we can look at moving down and taking out the next level. All right, is that making sense so far? I'm going, give me ones in the chat if that's making sense. Give me twos in the chat if you're confused. Does it have to be off wicks? Should it be off wicks? It doesn't have to be off the wicks. It doesn't have to be. It's a matter of preference, right? Like I said, going off the wicks gives you a bigger range because you're now accounting for full price action. All right, and so you'll be able to get a better touch if it does go all the way down. All right, if you're going off the bodies, your line is going to be a lot closer. And so you might get in on the touch, but it'll break and come back, and then it'll end up wicking. All right, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Why didn't you get in when it finally came back down to the trend line? All right, Kev, so are you talking about where it came here, this last candle? Are you talking about this last candle, or are you referring to this gap? I'm thinking you mean in this candle. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. All right. Because we're not taking the gap down because that completely broke it. All right. We're looking for bounces. We want a clean bounce. We want a clean breakthrough, but not the gap. All right. And we had the gap fill, and you see we had the gap trade. What I was going to say, I didn't want to turn it too deep, was waiting for the break of this candle to go to the gap fill. All right. This is our exit. And that's why resistance and support, supply demand still matter. But now here's our current setup is we have these inside candles, and we have two ways to go when it comes to the trend line, right? So when it comes to this trend line, we can, again, bounce up. We want to break above these highs because we know that this can just be a resistance. So this is where you start kind of getting a little deeper with it, is you could buy it right now, right? But we know that if we get it right now, we can tag this as a resistance and just reject back down, right? We want to have more certainty. So once we can take out these highs that's previously been resistance, 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 then we're looking at catching our move back up. Of course, we have to break through this level as well, right? And then we're looking at catching our move back up, right? And then on the flip side, we have the puts down and we have this gap to fill here as well, right? And so we'll take the break below, take it down, fill gap, and keep on going, right? But that's where, you know, as you're developing and learning, that's why you want to still be aware of the basics, which is your support and resistance and your trend, because you can combine these things, right? If we're going purely trend line, then we might buy long right now, right? And then if it breaks down, we're like, oh, crap, right? But now we can say, okay, cool. Not only if we buy it off of here, would that be a trend line bounce? And we're going to be looking to resume the original trend, but we're also having a breakout of these previous candles that were rejecting this 444 area, right? So let's go ahead and get another candle. And if you had bought calls, you would have been sitting there messed up, right? So that's where the patience comes in, and letting the trades come to you, okay? So hopefully that made sense, right? Even though we didn't take a trade on these, you see how the thought process goes into it, and you don't have to trade everything, right? You don't have to trade every single thing. And we go ahead, let it play out, comes back, cool. All right. Let's go ahead and get on. Like Jay-Z said, let's go on to the next one. On to the next one. Hold up, freeze. Oh, pop me up on this. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and look at this one. This is NVIDIA. All right. So NVIDIA, let's do the same thing. And now we're going to see the trend line break, retest, continuation, right? So here we have something going on. We have the trend line and we see our touches, right? And we take it back even further. Let's do this. So once we come back here, we're just gonna get in the bag. So I like to look at my trend line, and I'll place them after we get two so that I can anticipate the third. The same way I was just talking about anticipating a double bottom is the same way, like, I'm anticipating all these things before they happen. So that way I can already be ready to go when it does happen, right? So first thing first, because this is just gonna be full on trading, right? We see that we rejected this level. We started creating our trend line, and then, oh, is it pausing my screen? Yeah, I bet you just put that in the chat that it's pausing. Yeah, there you go, my fault. All right, so we had the trend line on the video, right? And this is what I was saying again. We got two of them already anticipating what can go on after that, right? Now we have the rejection here. We've established that this is now our lower high, right? After this, we have our demand here. We break through demand, right? So that's potential puts right there. But anyway, let's keep it rolling. So what we're looking for now is to pull back. Perfect. We're looking for that pullback. So what we just did was pull back and tag this zone again, right? Knowing that our demand is going to flip and be a supply zone now, right? So that's a potential put entry right there. But for the trend line, again, what we're looking at is this here. We're going to look for us to come back, tag trend line, right? Stop if we go above it and close above it. And we're going to take it back down to this support, right? We see there at this level, this is 161, 161.75, right? Around this area, we see that buyer step back in. So that's what we're going to get out of our puts. Okay. So cool. Right. You take that down. Boom. All right. So now we're still going down, still our trend line. We have another opportunity here. All right. We just came up, hit trend line. So that's our entry. If we're trying to snipe these puts, right? And we could just target the support below again. Close outside the trend line, we get out, right? If we close outside of trend line, then that's going to mean we're flipping trend. That's the whole point of the trend line. The whole point of the trend line is to say, okay, we're making lower lows, we're continuously moving down, but we're making higher highs, whichever way it's going. This is our way we're going. Oh, we've broken outside of this. Now we're looking at an opportunity to flip and go the other way. So you're catching the reversal, right? When you're taking the break, when you're taking the rejection of the trend line, you're trading the continuation after a retracement or a pullback, right? So this is a pullback in the downtrend. This is a pullback in the downtrend, right? So now we're at the spot again where we're coming back up, touching trend line. We can take it back down, right? And our stop is on a close outside of it. Okay, cool. So now we got out, right? Whether or not you took profits, whether or not you took another entry here and took it back down, right? That's up there. But that's the trade setup that you're looking for, is that rejection continuation. And now that we've broken out of it, we can now look for our calls because we've now started making a new high, right? So what does that mean for the price? Is that you see we previously had our last move up here and here, right? We came down, made a higher low because this low is higher than this one, lower high, and now our lows are holding. So that's another way you can look at potential trend exhaustion, right? When you're comparing your highs and your lows and you see that you're stopping the continuation of the lows or the highs, now we're slowing down. The trend is getting exhausted because the sellers are no longer pushing us down further, right? This whole way through, we saw sellers come in, push it down, hug, come through, push it down, hug, push it down, right? So now we see we're hugging it again, and this time we've broken up instead of pushing down, right? Boom, right? So you broke out, came back, you took your calls, right? Targeting up here, the previous resistance, took your calls, and what you see is you pull back again, right? Here's your pullback to test the trend line. So this is what that means when you see a pullback retest. I know I say it like that a lot, pullback, like breakout, pullback, retest, continuation, right? You broke out of the trend line, pulled back and retested it, and then you rejected it and continued back up. We have our trend reversal here, right? So all that's showing you is that we're testing this to see if this is really gonna hold. And it's not a matter of the actual line, right? Keep in mind, this line is just something I created. These lines are things that we, put on the chart to make it easier for us to dissect what's going on. But in the actual price, it's like, yo, are we going to actually hold, or the seller's going to come back in and take it back down, right? And when you get that test and it rejects that, That's the buyers not going no more for that, right? Should it pull all the way back to trend line before buying a call? Doesn't matter near the angle or degree for a probability. So as far as your entry for calls, you can take the break. There's different ways you can do it, right? So let's break it down. I'll go from higher risk to lower risk. Your higher risk trade comes when you're looking at your trend line, comes when you try to enter off a break, right? Just a break, not a close, but just a break, right? So what we see right here, if we zoom in, right, we see right here, we broke this trend line that I made. All right, if you enter calls on there, it broke back down, then gave you the inside candle. And it ultimately could have just came back down and been a failed break, just like all these other rejections here, right? And that's personally why I like to use the wicks, is because since I'm using the wicks, I'm less likely to get faked out because I'm accounting for previous fake outs. So when it breaks out, I know it's real because I'm already accounting for fake out, fake out, fake out, right? So it's higher risk to get in once that candle, that live candle breaks above because it can't pull back just like previously, right? Now, what would be safer would be waiting for the close, right? And when you wait for the close, you get a candle like this, it broke out, closed above, you can get your calls now, right? But it can always come back and just break right back through, right? And then you get out, and that's fine. You just, hey, okay, I took a loss on that, right? The safest way to do it would be waiting on the pullback and retest and the bounce, right? Because now when we pull back, peep that we still have these lows right here, right? So I'm trying to explain it price wise. We still have these lows right here. While we have made a new higher low, we haven't confirmed that we're done with this level, right? So as far as we know at this point, we could still reject this and come right back to this level, right? Let's take the trend line away, right? Look at it like that. You see how like that, like that probably made it a lot easier to understand how I was viewing that, even with the line there, right? Take the line away, and now you see like, oh wow, right? We're tagging this resistance, right? And that looks like it's probably gonna come back down and come back down to the support. Do y'all see that now that I took that trend line away? How it looks like, oh man, it looks like it's about to flip, right? One's in the chat, one me up. Does that make sense how you flip that? And now you see why that retest matters, right? So if we remove that trend line, now we see, oh, this looks completely different, Jordan. I would have went for puts right here. So that's why when you get these, now, even without the trend line, you're like, oh, okay, now we've established a new level of support that's higher than that previous level. So we're not going back down here right now anymore. All right, now this is our new low. This is our new higher low. And so now you have the confidence to get in a trade because not only have you started making higher highs, which is your break and close above the trend line, right? But now you've also come back and tested that trend line for validity. And by what I mean by that is like I just showed you, right? It's like, oh, okay, it's confirmed now that we not coming back down here, right? And that's when you go ahead, you take a trade and you catch the flip, right? Cool. Let's do another one. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Switching up the charts on you. How many charts you got, Jay? A few. Teaching people is what I do. How I open this up, I don't even know. See, I don't know how to do this. There we go. I'm tripping. All right. Let's look at this. Let me exit out of this. Cool. So we're looking at SPX on the 1 minute now. I also did that intentionally. The first chart we looked at was on the daily. Second was a 15-minute. Third one's a 1 minute. Okay? Because when you understand how you can trade price and price movements, you can trade it on any time frame. So I just want to clear up that time frame question that always comes up. Like, what time frame is the best for trend lines? It's price, right? You can trade it on whatever time frame. So as far as the slope, okay, the slope of the trend line is just going to be based on how strong that move up was. And when you have those strong moves up, you can see strong moves down, right? Here's a good example, because Kia Mia asked that question. All right, so we have this strong move up here, right? I don't even like doing them like this, but boom. So you're going to get a more vicious move down. All right, we see our 1, 2, 3, right? We have our higher low here. Oh yeah, give me that. All right, so we got our higher low, first higher low, second higher low, right? Trend is now flipping, right? Second higher low, third higher low. Then we get this little pull back. This will kind of be like our fourth higher low area right here. And then we break, right? And we had this strong move up, and now that flips and gave us that strong move down. All right, just for the sake of it, notice where price stops at again. Support, support, support. All right, just make sure y'all paying attention. So that's the slope question, right? But that's how you trade them. And so you can trade it on the 1 minute. You see the same thing, right? Once we establish this trend line here, let's take it back, right? What do we now know based on what Jordan has shown us? Okay, I want to wait for it to pull back. Not only that, but because I understand support and resistance, this would be a cool entry too, because this is going to be a support bounce and a trend line bounce, right? Cool. So that's what you're looking for. And we can go ahead, catch that trade when it comes to that level. Boom, came to that level. So this is where you look at sniping, right? This is how you get your better entries when you're buying long on your pullbacks and not the breakouts, is when you snipe, right? So you get in here, stop loss is right here. Take profit, your safe take profit could just be the last high, right? You still have a 3-to-1 risk to reward on this trade, right? Bam, cool. All right, and then of course it keeps going, continues the trend. And that's the beautiful thing about trading with the direction of the trend, is you don't have to be scared because you're trading the way the trend is going, right? Like if you was swimming and you was in the water is going north and you trying to swim north, like you can let it carry you. You don't have to work as hard as somebody's trying to swim south in water that's going north, right? It's the same thing when you're trading with the trend. So you can let this run out because you're trading in a direction that was already going, right? So now we have the same thing, right? Let's keep it a buck. We can pull back here, right? Stop below the trend line, let it carry us out. Or we break below trend line, close below trend line, and we target the support and we stop on a move back above, right? Those are our two ways we're going with this. Boom, we broke and closed below. So now we're in our puts, right? First target, we coming down to this support level. Then we got this support level. Boom, target one hit. Look at how it bounced, right? Why did it bounce like that and give you the hammer? Because it's the support level. Target one, that's why it's target one, because we already are anticipating, yo, this could come up here, double bottom, and pop back up, right? Again, we take the trend line out the equation and you see it, right? You see the charts for that to be a double bottom. Cool, let's put the trend line back. We get our continuation, right? I'm finna, man, let's get deeper with it, right? We talked about trading hammer candles before. When you're trading your hammer candle off support, you're looking for a break above the high of the hammer candle for you to get your reversal back up, right? We're not automatically buying calls just because it's a hammer candle. We want to see an actual continuation, right? So cool. While this is live, I'm like, yo, we break this high, I can go ahead and take that double bottom back up, right? That's how I'm seeing this. I'm just going to give it to y'all straight. Next candle, inside candle, right? So now we like, okay, cool. We got the inside candle, right? Now we can look at trading the inside candle breakout. All right, we're going to break down to the low. Go ahead and come down here next. Or we break out the high, we take this high out, and then we go ahead and continue our trend. All right. Boom, inside candle breakdown, coming down here next to test this low. This previous resistance is going to be support. And then we have our support down here. All right. Y'all would have thought I went through and watched this chart 30 times before I got on this Zoom. It came and tested the support. It was previous resistance turned support. Same thing we just looked at. Right? Boom. Hit your target, you out. You know, or because you now know the trend is new, you can let the trend ride out. And we hammered again, bro. What? Y'all gonna get this, man. Bro. And we hammered again at the support, right? And that's why we're looking at that as the target, because we know that's a potential reversal area. It's a reversal level. And we don't want to get caught holding it and then it flips back up. All right, granted, if it does flip back up, Jordan, where's it going to go? It's going to come back here, test this level again, right? And then we can look at it to continue the trend and let the trend carry us out. Right? Now, maybe it's not going to do that. I don't know. Is it? Am I going to get to? That's why y'all got to make sure y'all study, bro. Real talk. Real rap. Because once you start like looking at that play out, it just flows so much easier when you like, okay, cool, this is how it's going. Okay, well, that's established, right? So we established another lower low. So our trend is still bearish, right? So we're letting it carry us on. And that's how you avoid getting shaken up, because it's 1, 2 green candles in your trade. Like, who cares? It didn't come and make a new high. Your trend is still bearish. Your inputs from up here. Let it carry you, right? Look for your next levels and just let it go ahead and take you there. All right, let me check the chat. I'm posting this recording tonight. Usually it take me like 2 days, but I'm posting this tonight. How many times will you get a bounce on the trend line before reversal usually? I don't think there's a certain number of bounces pre-reversal. You're just waiting for the reversal. It's not a matter of on the 3rd bounce, I'm getting in puts on the 8th bounce. Just wait for it to break it. You can wait for it to break. That's the safe route. Break and close, rather. Or you can wait on a break close retest. As you see on this one, we didn't get a break close retest. We got a break and it just kept going, right? And that's why you need to know like how to adapt and see, okay, well, this is going, cool. And you could have took your entry if you were waiting on a retest. You could have took your entry on the inside candle breakdown or the break of the low on this inverted hammer candle right here, right? Would you draw a trend line on the long red candles going straight down, or do you wait for up and down movements? No, Kia, right? Why would we not draw a trend line on these straight red candles? Is because we're not making any new swings. Like this is just one swing down, right? We haven't put a low in, right? So we have to wait for our low to actually come in. So when we have these straight candles, there's no new low. When we come down here and bounce off, now we've established this is a lower low. Granted, you take it down to the 30-second, and you could probably see, or the 15-second chart, you could probably see that, right? But this is our new swing up, another swing up right here, right? So that's where you would start looking at establishing a trend line, is if you start going off of those, right? And you say, okay, well, let me connect Let me connect my swing highs, right? These lower highs that I'm getting. So that's why you wouldn't do that. All right. Cool. Why'd you put a line on top of the little green candle? Oh, because that was going to be our next level to come back to. What time frame are we on? 1 minute. Did it maybe go into that FVG instead of retesting that area? I don't know. I got to do more studying about those. I don't know. I just know I'm putting this recording up tonight. All right. Let's keep pushing. What we just talk? Oh my gosh, y'all gonna get this stuff. What did we just talk about? What did we just talk about with trend exhaustion? Please put it in the chat. When we start seeing price do what? We looking at potential trend exhaustion. It could be a 1-word answer. It could be a 5-word answer. Let me know. Put in the chat. Sideways, consolidation, candle shrinking. Exactly, right? I don't even know if we was on SPY when we just did that, or SPX, right? Exactly. That's when we're looking at potential trend exhaustion. It doesn't mean it's going to flip, but you can start watching for that, right? You can start watching for that. The sellers and buyers are fighting. That's all that means. And if you take it to a higher time frame, it's just going to look like a big doji, right? Sellers and buyers are sitting here fighting. And then you see that buyers end up winning that fight. Accumulation. Exactly. Can use the KDJ indicator to show bullish and bearish direction. I don't know. I only use the MSC indicator. But I'll pop the KDJ on there just for you right now. Well, this is what Pastor used. So maybe. I don't know. Y'all got to test that out yourself. So yeah, right? Like we just said, the reason I'm trying to like hammer this in is because we've looked at SPY, NVIDIA, and then SPX, right? Granted, SPX and SPY kind of same thing. But we also looked at the daily, the 15, and the 1 minute. So we've looked at 3 different stocks or ETFs, and we looked at 3 different time frames, and the same concepts and the same principles are applied regardless, right? So if we were looking at Apple, if we were looking at Tesla, if we were looking at AMD, if we were looking at Bitcoin, if we were looking at ES futures, the same stuff is there, right? But that's how you spot this and you're like, okay, cool, let me go ahead and dump, right? And then once you break out of this range, you see that break above this range, you get in your calls, that's how you start catching bottoms. And you're like, oh, snap, D, how you catch the bottom of that? You got in right there? Whoa, Kia Mia, how'd you snipe that, right? That's because you were like, yo, it started looking exhausted, bro. Sellers and buyers was boxing. Once we broke above these highs, I was like, oh yeah, the buyers won. You got in. And the beautiful thing about it, right, is when you start lining up your trades, is you get in right here. I like Kev. You get in right here, you target your previous resistance. Your stop loss is right below the previous low. All right. You giving yourself a 2.5 risk to reward ratio on your trade. You have a breakout, right? Like it's just stacking stuff up in your favor. Even if it don't work, you lose real little. But even if it goes up, you good. You make $7 on the move up versus losing almost 3, right? So I like teaching y'all, man. All right, so let's look at this last trend line real quick, and then we'll unmute for questions. Get out of replay mode. All right. Same deal here. Bounce, 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 bounce. All right. So this one was 4 bounces before it broke. All right. It doesn't have to be a set number of bounces, but again, remember that once you establish it, right, Once you see your first two that have changed, you have your first two changes in the trend, you're like, okay, bet. Let me go ahead and throw this trend line out there because there's a possibility it'll click, right? And that's what we doing. We waiting, not let me go ahead and buy it, but let me go ahead and put it there because it's likely to come back down. And if it comes back down, I can anticipate it coming down and testing this trend line, right? And so we wait, and that's it. We wait. We let the trade come to us, all right? Cool. Whenever you come to my trend lines, SPX, whenever you come, I'm ready for you. I'm waiting. I'm going to take that bounce. I'm going to take you back up to the resistance, right? Or if you break, cool. I'm going to take that break and I'm going to take you down to support. Whatever you want to do, Mr. and Mrs. Spy, SPX. All right, cool. Yep, appreciate you. Thank you for bouncing right there. I like that. Cool, there's my trade setup. 6 to 1 risk to reward ratio. All right. Y'all thought I was gonna be like, oh, ha, nah, the candle didn't close. Let the candle close. So now we done double. We had 2 bounces on the trend line. 2 bounces on the trend line. All right. Let's go ahead and get our candles going. Boom, target hit. Target hit. Sniper gang, right? 1 minute trading. This is why look, because y'all know I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. This is why the 1 minute isn't scary. I'm not saying go get on a 1 minute. I know people gonna talk about it, but I just keep stuff real. I try to keep it real rap with y'all, I swear. The 1 minute isn't scary. This is why it's not scary. It's the same thing we just did on the 15 minutes, the same thing we just did on the daily. It's the same thing, it's just price. Now, if you scared of price action, that's different, right? But if you allow yourself to just let the price be price and don't think about what time frame you're on, like the time, forget the time frame. Let's look at the price. What is price saying? That we're making higher lows, right? Cool. Regardless of the time frame, it doesn't matter. The time, why does it matter? Trade the price. All right. Because this is the same thing I just did on 3 other time frames. It's the same thing. So we trading the bounce. Cool. Simple as that. Right? Get your bag. All right. Let's wait again. Yeah. Yeah, SPX. I'm waiting on you. Come to this trend line. I want to see you bounce for me. I'm going to take you up to the resistance. Come to my trend line. Thank you. Thank you. There you go. Thank you. I don't care if you want to dance around with me. That's cool. That's cool. I don't mind. Right? Prime example again, though, of why I said wait for the close. Because just like with these candles, you would have got puts and you could flip, right? I always talk about if you're wrong and you know you're wrong, just flip. You don't have to sit there and be stuck in the wrong. Just close the trade and get in the right side of the trade. All right. So if we get take me back. Don't let them know we green already. Right. So we get this candle. You see how when the candle was live, it broke through. If you got puts on the break and didn't take the close, you would have been in puts. It would have came back in. You would have been like, oh, crap. Okay, it just hammered at the trend line. And you would have closed, bro. It's literally a 1 minute candle. You would have lost $2. Like, okay. All right. But that's why we wait on the close so that we can just get the calls and be on the right side. We try not to be on the wrong side too often. All right. Cool. Give us our move. Give me my money, right? Who cares what time frame is on? Who cares? Don't just jump on the time frame. Like, don't jump on the 1 minute tomorrow just because I said this or on Monday. But like, seriously, like it's price, right? It's price. If you know how to drive your car, it don't matter if you in Maine or New Mexico or Texas. It's a road. It's a road. It don't matter. The time frame, if you trade price, you trade price, it's not gonna matter. We just bounced. That's all it is. We bounced. Right? Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat, man. What y'all talking about? Let's go fire. That's nasty. Man, you teach perfect. Nice looking. Appreciate you. Like the 1 minute, need to stay in the 15, 5 minutes for bigger picture. Y'all was using the 1 minute, the 1 to 15 second. Yeah, I heard people was on a 1 second earlier today. And look, guys, no indicators, trend line, candlestick formations, and price. Exactly. I'm only showing y'all this because you still can tie it into whatever you're doing, right? But I like having extra tools in my bag. Um, so it's just, I promise you, bro, like if y'all stop worrying about little petty things like what damn time frame it is, and you just say, well, let me just trade price, like, yeah, right. It's easier to trade on the higher time frame. But it doesn't mean you have to be scared of a smaller time frame because it's more candles. Just trade it. You know what you're doing, right? Can you show how to set up the green, red target stop loss box? Yeah, come over here. Do 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 do. Right here, long position or short position. Right, you got your stop and wherever your target is. Boom. You said you was waiting for breaks. Yeah, I mean, you can trade either way. You could trade the breaks, you can trade the bounces because you gotta like get deeper. You have to get deeper. You have to get deeper. Right. And I don't mean like like why does the trend line work? But kind of like that. Like, why does the trend line work? But like think for yourself, like what does it mean? Not why does this trend line work? Right. But like, what does it mean? What's the idea behind it that allows it to be a thing that works? Right. So when we see this trend line, the only reason the trend line works is because it's just showing you that price is trending. You're literally just trading the trend. That's all a trend line is. Is you trading the trend or you trading the reversal of a trend because it's now broken the structure. That is all it is. That's all it is. Period. Simple. End of story. Right. So y'all can trade that. And it's simple. And you see, we do it on whatever stock, whatever time frame, it don't matter. All right. Appreciate it. Very helpful. 15-minute candles. Yes, do a 15-minute candle. Right. Do whatever time frame you need to do, as long as you just look at the fact that it's your trading price. Right. It's the same, it's the same thing, whatever time frame you're on. Okay, cool. 5 minute. We see we have the trend line. Trade the bounce. Trade the bounce. We didn't close below trend line. Like whatever time frame makes you sleep good at night. Just understand you're trading the same stuff, right? But you got to start getting deeper into it. When you start getting deeper into it, you're not going to be sitting there worried about the time frame because you're like, oh, I'm just trading the direction of the trend and a pullback. Oh, I'm trading the reversal now. Okay, cool, right? What's my targets? Okay, well, I need to have an understanding of support and resistance for my targets, right? But think about that. Why does the RSI work? Not because it's some magical thing. It's because it's showing you that selling has been going on so much that is about to be seller's exhaustion, right? That's all it's showing you. That's all it is, right? So when we come right here, see, I'll be getting hot. Okay, who would have been surprised that the RSI is oversold? Oh, the RSI is at 30. Oh, well, duh, right? And you sellers are getting exhausted. Now the RSI is coming up, right? So think about it, not to like crap on you saying like, well, my strategy is I'm gonna put a moving average on my RSI and I'm gonna wait for the moving average to cross with the RSI and I'm gonna get in. Like, cool. If that's how you gotta do it, but understand the reasoning behind it. And that's how you can also move to not needing indicators or feeling like you're tied to the indicator to trade, even though the MSC indicator is fire, right? But you're like, okay, sellers are getting exhausted. Look at this big move down. Yeah, RSI is probably pretty low right now. So you already know that, but you don't need to connect it to the RSI. Just know that we're extremely oversold. And now we're in this tug of war between buyers and sellers. We broke above the high. Buyers are now winning. We're getting in our calls, targeting the previous resistance. Doesn't matter if you're on a 2-minute, 30-minute, 5-hour, 5-day. Don't matter. All right. Man, I'm telling y'all, y'all gonna get this. I'm glad I did this class. All right. What y'all talking about? Jordan and Gold, if you're not in Lifetime here, you should. This is the beginning. Appreciate you, man. Def watching the recording. Ha! Nah, it's gonna booty say go. But yeah, right? Like that's it. So let's do a quick rundown. Let's do a quick recap. All right. Let's do a quick recap. Do a quick recap. How I get off this chart. Cool. All right. We looked at SPY on the daily. Let's zoom out. We looked at SPY on the daily. All right. See the trend line broke. Cool. Let's go over here. All right. Trend line bounces on the daily that you can trade for your swings. Oh, I want to be a swing trader. Okay. Trade on the daily. It's a trend line. Trade the exact same thing because it's price. Right? You can trade the rejection of the trend line. Cool. Break back above. Continuation. Right? NVIDIA 15-minute. I don't want to swing. I want to be a day trader. Okay, cool. Do the exact same thing, but do it on a 15-minute chart. Right? I don't know where my trend line went, but y'all already saw how that went down. Cool. Let's just draw a new trend line here. Boom. Right? Cool. Breakout. Go back up. Break it. Cool. Right? Cool. Y'all got that. I want to be a scalper. Cool. Take it to the 1 or the 2 minute. Trade the exact same thing. Look at the bounce. Look at the damn. Zoom in. Zoom in on this chart. Make this chart bigger. I don't know what I'm. There you go. I'm tripping. Make this chart bigger. Make this chart bigger. Trade the bounce. Cool. Target a resistance. You can target that one. You can target this one. Let the trend carry you because it's the trend. Let it carry you. Oh, now I'm catching bangers on the 15-minute short-term swing because I want to do short-term swings. Right? Oh, I want to do long-term swings. I'll be busy. I'm working on Q4 projects for my company that I work at. Cool. Oh, I want to scalp while I'm on lunch break from work. Cool. Right? Like, hopefully this makes sense, man. I'm gonna let y'all unmute. Can I do another one on the 15-minute? Yeah, man, it don't. This one is on the 15-minute. It is on the 15-minute. That's my point. It's all there. It's priced. Oh, geez. It's all there. That's all it is. It's all price. It's all price. It's all price. It's all price. Here's a little swing high. Here's a swing high. Here's a swing high. All right. Connect our swing highs. Cool. All right. Not only can we trade the puts, all right, that's how you set them up. We're looking for our swing highs, swing lows, connecting those. Cool. Give me the bounce. Give me my bag. Appreciate you. All right. Come back. Look at that. Well, I promise, boy, y'all gonna make some money in this damn group. Come back. Test the trend line again. What do we just look at on the 5-minute, on the 3-hour, on the daily? Same stuff every single time. Test it. Cool. Break above it and close. Targeting this previous level. All right, we didn't hit that level. Okay, take your profits there. I don't know what to tell you. That one didn't go all the way, but you still went up. Trim your contracts. Flip to calls. It don't matter. You're gonna get your money however you want to get it. We broke above, came back, tested. Right, there's your break, pull back, retest, set it below the trend line. There you go. You made all your money back that you might have lost right here. Yeah, bruh, y'all gonna get this. Y'all gonna get this. Okay, there's your 15 minutes. You do it on whatever time frame. It's the same time frame. 30 minutes, the same thing. It's the same thing. Boom, 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 boom. Break, swing up. Same thing. All right. 23, Michael Jordan. Oh, that got spicy. That one was good. That one you got to faked out. Michael Jordan hit you with the little faked you out. 24 for Kobe though. You got in the puts, baby. All right. Trim at 100%. Exactly, Tim. Trim at 100%. All right, y'all can unmute, man. I ain't staying on here all night, though. Y'all can unmute, man.